ready to build their own. It's built out of 55-gallon plastic drum. This is plastic, 2x4 legs, and PVC pipe for the feeding tubes. And this is how I built it. I'm going to show you step by step. Let me take the lid off. Now what I've done, you can see this is a plastic barrel, because I didn't paint up here where the lid goes down. Okay, so we've got a plastic barrel. You can pick them up just about anywhere. And the first thing I done was I took my Sawzall and I cut around the whole circumference of the barrel to cut the lid off, because it doesn't come off like that. It just got the screw-in holes. So I had to cut it off. But the problem you run into with a plastic barrel when you cut it off is it lets the sides of the barrel relax and get kind of wavy, and you can't exactly get the lid to go back on and be waterproof unless you modify it a little bit, but I'll show you how I done that. So anyway, what you do, you get your 55-gallon plastic drum. Then after you cut the top off, flip it over, and on the bottom side, while you've got it flipped over, take a 4-inch toilet flange. And maybe you can see it in there. All it is a toilet flange, like if you're installing a commode in your house. Take the toilet flange while you've got the barrel flipped upside down, and just draw with a marker the diameter of the toilet flange. Take a jigsaw, cut the circle out, and then when you've got it cut out, of course, then you've got a hole in the bottom of your barrel. Then you just come back to the barrel on the inside, push the toilet flange through, tap it down to the barrel with 1/2-inch bolts, 2 inches long, and then when you tap it through, and then maybe you can see it right here, when you tap it through, right there's the bolts, and that pulls it down real snug to the bottom of the barrel. Okay, now then after you've got that, you take a 4-inch T. With this 4-inch T, you could glue it, but I went ahead and drilled holes and bolted it to the toilet flange for strength. I didn't want to trust the glue. And them's 1/2-inch by 2-inch bolts as well. Same thing with the toilet flange. And when you bolt that on there, you've got a good snug fit, and then the T's out about right here. Now what I ran into trying different feeds and stuff, I wanted to come out a good 20 inches or more, so it would be out away from the barrel and not be in the way for the deer to eat. And anything, for me, anything over 15, 16 inches, the feed wouldn't fall all the way out to the end. So that posed a problem. So what I done was, I come off from the T with a 23-degree elbow. And then with the 23-degree elbow, I come on out with 4-inch PVC for 20 inches, and then a 45-degree elbow. And all this is 4-inch, and you can get it at Lowe's. And if you can see, I've done it on both sides. Now what that 23-degree elbow does, once when that gravity feed falls down through that T, it doesn't have to travel but about 8 inches, and then it gets a nice grade fall down to the end, and it really piles up a nice little pile out here at the end. I used 2x4s, and to do the legs, it takes 4 8-foot 2x4s, and what you do with them is, if you get the 8-footers, cut 5 foot off. This is a 5-foot leg, and I mounted the barrel to where there's 3 foot of leg from the bottom of the barrel up, so it's got it 3 foot up, so that's a nice height for a deer to come to. You bolt it to the barrel. Basically I used 1/2-inch bolts here as well, but they're 3 inches long to be able to go through the 2x4 and through the barrel to the inside. You can see right there where all of them's bolted. So them are 3-inch, whereas down in the bottom I use 2-inch. Okay, and you can use pressure treated, or you can use just regular 2x4s, but I went with pressure treated because if I'm going to build it, I want it to last longer. I use 3-inch bolts with fender washers to get a good snug fit, especially on the inside of the barrel. You don't want it ripping through, so that's why I've got the fender washers. Okay, so you bolt them on. Now, for the people that don't really understand how to get the legs exactly where they need to go, because you wouldn't want to get your legs too many on one side, then your feeder's going to want to fall over. What you basically do is measure the whole circumference of the barrel all the way around. This one was 75 inches. You take 75 inches, divide it by 4, that's 18 3/4 inches. That's how I know every 18 3/4 inches to put a leg. That way I've got 4 perfect standing points on a round circle. So that's how you know how to do that. Okay, so after I cut 5 foot of the legs off, I've got 3 feet left. And 3 feet was enough left off from each board to be able to do the base down here at the bottom. What I've done basically is just run a 2x4 all the way across from one side to the other. Got a little fancier than you have to, but I just notched them out right there. Each 2x4 got notched out half of the width so they'd slide together real good. That just gives you a stronger, nicer fit and a flatter base rather than, but you could, you could frame it up however you wanted, but that gives a good, nice base. So once again, the plastic barrel, we've got the 5 foot legs. What we cut off was enough to make the base down there. And then I had these little blocks left right here. And I just slid them up underneath the barrel on all 4 legs just to give a little extra added support for the barrel, just so the bolts don't have to hold it off. The barrel can sit right on top of these blocks, and now it's got the bolts and everything to hold it. So then after you get that put together, what posed my next problem was the barrel being out of round now. So since the barrel was out of round and the lid wouldn't sit on there just exactly right, what I designed and come up with, which you can get it, I got it at Tractor Supply. This is just rubber matting that you can buy to any size to put in front of your front door or anything. I had them cut it in 6 inch widths. I just run sheet metal screws all the way around the lip of it. All the way around. Okay, and then when you do that, that gives you like a Tupperware bowl effect. And it really works well. So when you slide it on, it really sucks down on it and doesn't let any water get in. I let this sit through a severe thunderstorm the other night, and I took it off. And you can see that it's still just bone dry inside, so that does real good at keeping the water out. We put the lid back on it. Okay, see, now when you get that seal, so there's a plastic drum, 4-inch PVC, that's a 4-inch T, 23-degree elbow on each side, 20 inches of PVC to a 45 elbow to kind of stop the food from falling, 2x4s, 8 foot long plastic barrel, the rubber mat for the lid to make it seal down. So then the other last thing that I've done, just so coons or something couldn't get up there and maybe get my lid off, I put an eye bolt, one right here, one on the opposite side. There's a lip on the barrel. Take a bungee cord, I just put on it right there, snap it right on. You do the other side, and that lid is not going to come off. Them bungee cords would have to be took off. Plus, you would not believe how well that vacuum seals when it sits down on that barrel with that mat right there. So that's a fairly inexpensive way to build a good feeder. The reason why I came out 20 inches was I wanted to get the feeding tube out away from the barrel, so in case if I had a good buck with a 18-inch rack or something, 20-inch rack, he could actually walk up here and eat and his rack not bother nothing, because I wouldn't want him to, hit his rack against it, and maybe he would be leery of wanting to use it. So this way it's out of the way far enough to where any deer can eat out of it and not be bothered by the barrel. I hope this helps you, and if you have any questions or comments, just post them on there and I'll get back to you.